Welcome to the third video in the series dealing with section 7.3. It's a long section. And let's just do the last 6 problems. And you might say, well, geez, the last 6 problems, this video should go pretty short. But these are the most intense problems in the chapter. So it's not a big deal. I'm going to go over each of the 6 problems and then you'll be on your own. You can go ahead and do it. Okay, so I copied this problem down, number 20. We're starting with problem number 20. And so I copied it down exactly as I see it there. And then I'm going to embellish it a little bit by doing the bundling, because that's a unit and that's a unit. Right there, because that's what pluses and minuses do to terms. They bundle them as one unit. And then I ask myself, hey, does the denominators look exactly the same? Well, of course not. This is x plus 3 and this is x. So, geez, what do we need to do? Well, what we need to do is follow the guidelines that I have here. Where is it? Right there. And I have it. It's booting up. It's booting up right there. And it says, well, factor the expressions, the denominators, and the LCD must include all the factors you see listed once highest power. Okay, that's it. Well, x plus 3 is x plus 3. You can't do much with that. You can't factor it. It is what it is. And so x is x. That's good. So you know what we can do now is just go ahead and rewrite the fractions. See, this is what we have. We're subtracting 2 fractions. And the common denominator has to have every factor you see listed once. I like to put the simplest ones first, x. Everything has to have an x, and that's the highest term you see. And then another factor is x plus 3. X plus 3, and there you go. That's your common denominator. Okay. Bring down the numerators. Bring them down. They have to be multiplied by something. They need to be multiplied. Bring down that one, x plus 2. They need to be adjusted. Okay, because, what do I mean by that? This is my starting denominator. This is my ending denominator. This is my common denominator. What do I need to multiply the original denominator to get the common? Well, just compare the two. What's missing here is an x. I got to multiply the top by x. So if I multiply the bottom by x to get the common, whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do up top to balance out the fraction. That's what I'm doing here. We'll leave that alone. That's been done. Now, x has to become x plus 3. So apparently I got to multiply the bottom by x plus 3 to do that. And whatever you do on the bottom, you do up top. So I'm going to put the x plus 3 here. And let me just put a balance over here in x plus 3. So people can see that I'm not doing things wrong here. All right. Okay. Now what do we do now? We need to subtract the tops. But before you can subtract the tops, you need to multiply out the tops. Multiply out the tops right there. And so I'm going to multiply the tops. This is just x. I'm just going to distribute this x into x squared plus 5x over the denominator. I'm just going to say blah, blah, blah. I don't want to take time writing that out because the denominator did what it had to do. Doesn't get involved anymore. Now this guy, geez, look at this. This is a FOIL. You've seen that a lot. Only in this context, we are FOILing out the numerator of a fraction. So just do it. That's going to be x squared, first, outer, inner, last. 5x plus 2x is going to be 5x. 3 times 2 is 6. There you go. We did it. Yay, over blah, blah, blah. Okay, now, we know we have to be careful with minuses because minuses, we subtract every term to the right. You keep the left side and subtract every term to the right. So here's where I got to go one more step. X squared plus 5x, okay, minus x squared, minus 5x, minus 6. See? That goes right through, permeates over, blah, blah, blah. And then the very last step is, the very last thing that you're going to do with any of these expressions is combine like terms on the numerators. And in fact, I'm going to come right over here and do it out in my box, right here in my box. It'll look nicer. Fraction. X squared minus x squared, 0x squared, 0. No more x squareds. 5x minus 5x is 0, because those are like terms. So far we got zeros. They all canceled out. X squares, 5x is canceled out. Leaves you with minus 6. And the denominator is this blah, blah, blah that I put in the paintbrush. But this guy here, the blah, blah, blah is this guy, x plus 3. Don't have to multiply it out. Check your answer. Whoa! What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong here? I can't believe I did something wrong here. Let's see what I did wrong. It's really, math is not forgiving. It's not forgiving at all. See this minus 5? I don't know for the life of me why I put plus 5. That's wrong. That's minus 5. So let me get a little paint, let me get a little eraser, block this off, and let's see if I can salvage a little bit of this. This is going to be minus 5, and this is going to be a minus 5. And so it's not all that bad. It just makes the video a little longer than I wanted it to be. Minus 5. And so I guess the end result is this is going to be minus 10x. Minus 10x minus 6. So let's throw a minus 10x minus 6. Check your answer. And there you go. Math is not forgiving. It's either right or wrong, and I did it wrong the first time. Maybe I should get more coffee when I do these problems. Be careful. Even the best of us make mistakes, so maybe there's something that you can get out of that. But the technique, I think you're going to see, is pretty much the same as all the other problems we've done. Okay, let's try another one. Ooh. Okay, let's go over here and say, don't save this. Let's say File, New. Okay, start off with a nice blank slate and copy the problem. This is x squared plus 2x minus 24 plus 10 over x plus 6. Well, that's one big bundle there, which you know is going to have to be factored. Whenever you see this pattern, squares, x's, and numbers, you're going to factor that. There's a bundle there. And well, why don't we factor it? We got to do the common denominator. The denominators aren't the same, so you can't do the problem until you have the same denominator. So in order to do the common denominator, I need to factor it. And this is a 2, so x and x, plus and minus. And I'm going to go with 6 and 2, 6 and 4, 6 and 4, because 6 and 4 multiply out to be the negative 24, and 2 in the middle, and this is an x plus 6. Okay, good. I know what the common denominator is, and you know what the common denominator is. It's got to have every factor you see listed once. I don't care that x plus 6 occurs twice. Highest power x plus 6. Well, the highest power x plus 6 is 1, so I write down x plus 6, x plus 6, and it's got to have an x minus 4. Okay, common denominator done. Bring down the numerators. They need to be adjusted, possibly. Let me get, that looks like a 2. I'm going to smudge that out a little bit. Yeah, that looks like a 2. Okay. Bring down the 10. Okay, look at the original denominator, common denominator. By golly, look at that. The original denominator is the same as the common denominator. Don't have to do anything. Nice, nice. Let's come over here. We start off with this x plus 6. We end up with this complicated lowest common denominator. What's the difference? Well, I have to multiply the bottom by x minus 4. And whatever you do on the bottom, you do up top to balance out the equation. Okay, now we're adding. Adding is good. Adding, before you can add, you have to multiply. So we have to multiply this. So we're left with 7x over blah, 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 plus 10x minus 40 over blah, blah, blah. And because we're doing plus, we don't have to change any signs. You just add the tops. Looks like 7x plus 10x, like terms, 17x minus 4 over the blah, 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 which I'm going to put into the box right here. Right, this box. It'll look better if I just put it into the answer. So I have 17x minus 4 divided by the blah, blah, blah is your x plus 6. This is it right down here. X minus 4. Check your answer. Wow. Wow, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Why is that wrong? Come on. That's 40. That's 40. Oh, dear Lord. Why is this going to happen? This is to 10x minus 40. Minus 40. Oh, I'm sorry about this. I am really sorry about this. I guess I should... I'm doing this video early in the morning, 7 o'clock. Maybe I should do it later on. Minus 40. Good job. See? Good job. Well, at least we're doing the technique correctly, and I was getting a little careless. But the good thing about this, if there's a good thing that comes out of this, is if I did get it wrong, you get to try it out 2 or 3 times, check your work, and in the process, it's, you know, I'm a firm believer of the phrase, you only get strong when you fail. Okay, and boy, am I going to get strong after this homework assignment, because I failed twice. Okay, you only learn after failure. All right, let's do this problem. All right, let's see. I want that green box right away, though, Mike, because I'm losing face doing this homework. Don't save. File, new. Do it again. Do it again. All right, here's what I'm going to do. See this problem here? I'm subtracting. It's okay, not a big deal. The denominators aren't the same, are not the same, so you might as well factor the denominators while I do the problem. In other words, 5. I'm going to factor this out. The best I can do there is pull out a 4. 4 n minus 2. Well, let's be careful. Am I right? 4n minus 8. Yes, I'm right. That's good. Always, I'm going to check myself. I'm going to be very careful. N up top. And this is just going to be a foil job that we've been doing all semester long to the point where it gets disgusting to look at. N. Plus and minus for the negative 8. Plus and minus for the negative 8. And those things have to add up to be 2. So 4 times 2 would subtract to be 2. So I'm going to say plus 4 and 2. And I think that's right, right? 4n minus 2, 4n minus 2n is 2n. That's it. That's good. The common denominator has to have every factor you see listed once highest power. If you got numbers, see, it looks nice to have the number in front. So if you got any numbers, what's the common denominator of 4? And if you don't see a number, it's 1. Well, common denominator is 4. Okay, it's got to be 4. You got to have every factor you see listed once. How about n minus 2? And that's the highest power n minus 2 I see. N minus 2. So I took care of the n minus 2s. And you have to have an n plus 4. Extending that. N plus 4. Better looking at it. Okay. Okay, bring down the numerators. Okay. What's the difference from the original denominator, common denominator? Well, I got the 4, I got the n minus 2. I have to multiply the bottom by n plus 4. So n plus 4 has to multiply this bottom. You have to multiply the top by n plus 4, which is what I got over here. I can't make n's. You know what? Let me smudge that out. Make a better looking n. I wish they just used x's all the time. X's I can do good. Okay. Here's my original denominator on this fraction, common denominator down here. I guess the difference is I'm multiplying the bottom by 4. I got to multiply the top by 4. There you go. I really want to make it look like 4n though, because n4 doesn't look right. So just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind. In fact, that's what I'm going to do here. 4n. That makes me happy. Multiply through the tops. You got to multiply before you can subtract. How about 5n plus 5 times 4 is 20 over blah, blah, blah. And then the last thing we're going to do when we subtract is change the sign of everything to the right, which is 5n plus 20 minus 4n over blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to put the answer in here. Because the very last thing you do is combine your like terms on the numerator. 5n minus 4n is a plain n, 1n plus 20, divided by the blah, 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 which is, this is your common denominator, 4, n minus 2, n plus 4. Okay, please give me green. I got some green. Got some green. I'm very happy. I redeemed myself slightly. Wow. Okay. 3 more. 3 more. Oh, not similar question. Not similar question. I have to hit this button. Best score. Okay. Okay, let's do this one. Start off nice and fresh. Don't save. File, new, right there, come over here, copy the problem, t plus 4, and minus, they love their minuses, t plus 7 over 16 minus t, up, smudge it, t squared. This is a bundle, and that's a bundle. Let's see. Well, the denominators aren't the same. Okay, factor the denominators. Well, t plus 4 is t plus 4. Well, certainly we can factor this. This is a difference of 2 squares. So I'm going to put the factors right below it. And 4 and 4 gives you the 16 in front. Plus and minus. And t. Do the job there. Okay, so what's the common denominator? let's see. This is 4 plus t. This is t plus 4. It looks like 4 plus t is different from t plus 4, but they're actually the same term. They're the same thing. So be careful about that. The common denominator has to have every factor you see listed once, highest power. Well, I'm going to put t plus 4. And that's going to also take into consideration the 4 plus t, which we only list once. T plus 4. Now, do you see any other factors? Yeah, 4 minus t. Now, as much as it pains me to write this, because the number's in front, you have to do that. Write it exactly the way you see it. Okay. Bring down the 5. Bring down the numerators. Bring down that t plus 7 bundle. Okay. Look at this fraction here. T plus 4 has to become this complicated lowest common denominator here. So what's the difference? I have to multiply the bottom by 4 minus t. If you multiply the bottom by 4 minus t, you'll have to offset that by multiplying the top by 4 minus t. Excuse me. Wait, the second fraction, we have to do nothing. We do absolutely nothing. They're the same. The denominators are the same. Great. I like to do nothing. Okay. So before we can subtract, we have to multiply. So this is going to be 20, 5 times 4, minus 5t, okay, over blah, blah, blah. And this set of parentheses really isn't necessary. Minus t plus 7 over blah, blah, blah. The next to the last step is to make sure we accommodate the changing of the sign of everything to the right because we're subtracting. The left stays the same. Minus t minus 7 over blah, blah, blah. And the very last thing is to combine your like terms. Minus 5t minus t is minus 6t. 20 minus 7 is 13. Over blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Let's see. This is going to be minus 6t plus 13. 13. And on the bottom, the blah, blah, blah is this mess. T plus 4 and 4 minus t. All right, go for it. Oh, great. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. How's it feel? I feel good. I feel good. Okay. Wow. Wow. You know, I think I lied to you. I said I was going to do every problem. I'm not going to do every problem. I want you to feel the burn on these last two. I'm going to do number 25. Because number 25 looks like 24. Yeah, looks like 24. But I want you to experience the pain, if you will, of doing this problem. Okay? Luckily, not all the problems are going to look exactly like as intense as this, but there's a lot of steps to doing this problem. If you can do 25 and you can follow along with my number 25, you'll be able to do number 24. Okay? So let's do it. Let's do it, do it, do it. Let's come over here, close this out. Don't save it. Excuse me. File, new. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go. Move this down here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? Are the denominators the same? Well, of course not. That wouldn't be a lot of fun. And I'm also being weird. I'm a little weary of the minus because you know what's going to happen toward the end is that we have to change the sign of everything to the right, but that's all right. We'll worry about that later. I'm going to get my fractions ready. There's my fractions, getting myself ready. Rather than waste time copying this, you know that that's one big bundle down here. That's one big bundle. And every one of those squares, x's, and numbers terms need to be factored. So why don't we do that? X plus 1, x plus 1. Oh, this is the first time we've seen this. X plus 1, x plus 1, we can write that as a power. In fact, you should write it as a power. X plus 1 squared. So that's what this denominator is ultimately. This first fraction has this as a denominator. If you've got the same factors in that factorization, make sure you use your power notation. You have to do that. Now this guy down here is another big bundle that needs to be factored. Okay, so we'll do that. This is x plus 3, x plus 1. Okay. Let's bring down the numerators. Actually, just copy the numerators here, and this is 3x plus 4. Okay. We factored the denominators. So what's the lowest common denominator? Well, I see a factor of x plus 1. You have to have every factor you see listed once, highest power. I see an x plus 1. That's a factor. It's not x plus 1 squared that's the factor. It's x plus 1 is the factor. You take the highest power x plus 1 I see. Well, it looks like the square. Here's an x plus 1 and here's an x plus 1, but the highest power is the square. So that's what I'm going to put down here. Every factor I see listed once, I see an x plus 3, which I need to list. Whew, that was hard. That was difficult. Problem number 24, you're going to end up seeing a square term too. So be careful with that. Let's bring down the numerators. And this is a bundle, so let's put a little bundle action here. 3x plus 4 here. Okay, now compare the original denominator with the common denominator. The original denominator looks like this. The only thing that's missing from that original denominator is the x plus 3. So if I multiply the bottom by x plus 3, I got to multiply the top by x plus 3. The original denominator on this fraction looks like this. Compare the two. X plus 3's are good. Here we start off with 1x plus 1, and here we need a square, two of them. So I need to multiply the bottom by x plus 1 to get the square. Whatever you do on the bottom, you have to do up top. Wow, we got a lot of foiling out to do. Okay, so before you could subtract, you got to multiply the tops. This isn't too bad, because you're just going to distribute that 4x. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 3 is plus 12x, so that wasn't too bad. Over blah, 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 because I don't want to write that mess out again. This is one big FOIL job. First, outer, inner, last. 3x squared. 3x plus 1 is 3x times 1 is 3x. Inner 4x. Last is 4. Over blah, blah, blah. Okay? Now, we need to write one fraction. We're subtracting, which means I have to subtract every term on the right. But on the left, we write it down like this, 4x squared plus 12x minus 3x squared minus 3x minus 4x minus 4 over blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to do this in my answer box because it'll look better if I do it out in my answer box. Now, the blah, blah, blah on the bottom is simply this guy right over here, the common denominator. So let's put that in there. X plus 1, that needs to be squared. X plus 3. Okay, that's there. The top, let's take a look at the top here. What do we need to do here? We do our squares first. 4x squared minus 3x squared is 1x squared. So I'm going to put x squared. So I took care of my squares. I take care of my x's. So it looks like 12x minus 3x is 9x minus 4x is 5x. So it looks like that would be plus 5x. So I took care of all my x terms. And so I'm just left with a minus 4 here when I'm done. When it's all said and done. Wow, that was a lot of work. I hope it's right. Please be right. Yes, very good. Very good. Okay. So, I know you're going to hate me for not doing number 24, but I'm like your physical trainer at the gym. Okay? You're supposed to do I'm showing you how to do the problems. You go to the machine and actually start doing the reps in order to get your body in shape. And right now, I'm doing mental calisthenics, and hopefully you'll be able to take what I show you and apply it here. And it's very similar to this problem. Very, very similar. It's even slightly easier because we're doing a plus as opposed to a minus. Well, I hope you got something out of this, and I'll see you in the next homework, I guess section 7.4. And again, this was the worst section in all of Algebra 2, so you got that going for you. Just get past this section 7.3, and things will get a lot easier. Okay, take care. Bye.